Just one. Shall we start now? Please begin.
Namaste. I, on behalf of Moksha Yoga Sansthan, welcome you all to the third session of Day-1 of Global Yoga Conference. For this session, we are honored to have among us Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku from Japan. Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku is a former diplomat and a passionate yoga follower since past 16 years. He integrated his yoga training under the guidance of Acharya Pratishtha in 2004 and has contributed a lot between yogic relation between India and Japan. He has actively participated in several yoga conferences and seminars all over the globe. At present, he is the director of Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku will be speaking of Yoga for Viewpoint of Foreigner and My Yoga Experience today. Before we are requested our estimated speaker to begin with the session, we have among us our Guruji and Director of Moksha Yoga Sansthan, Adharnya Acharya Pratishtha. I request Guruji kindly welcome Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku to say few words. Thank you. Kindly requested respected Sri Kenichiro Toyofuku to kindly deliver this session.
Thank you, Richa. Well, I would say that we welcome guests, but Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku is not a guest, but a member of this global Bharat Yoga family. And I'm really, really glad and really happy and honored to have him today at this first day of Global Yoga Conference. So today we witnessed a beautiful inauguration of Global Yoga Conference by His Excellency the President of Mauritius, who joined us for the inauguration of this 3-day event. And I personally have seen and witnessed the journey of this very senior diplomat, but a yogi at heart, Mr. Kenichiro Toyofuku, from the beginning of the yoga journey till today. I would just request him to start with his session and to share his experiences throughout this journey of yoga, throughout this journey of love, peace, and unity, because yoga means to unite. And that is the message of this Global Yoga Conference, that the whole world is a big family and we are together at this platform of Global Yoga Conference, which is a platform of love, peace, and humanity and unity.
Pratishtha ji, thank you very much. So I'm very, very glad to join the International Yoga Day Conference in 2022. It is my great pleasure to join this conference. Then before that, so I'd like to explain my very, very unique background. So I'm Japanese. I born in Japan. I growing up in Japan. Then after that, in 2004, when I was 35 years old, so I had a very, very good chance to come to India and start living in India from 2004. So after that, almost 17 years, so I'm living in India. So then today I'd like to share my great experience. So it is the journey of yoga by myself. So and my initial contact and the first experience of yoga is in 2004. So I'm very, very lucky. My first guru of yoga is Pratishtha ji. I'm very, very lucky. So Pratishtha ji taught me a lot about yoga in New Delhi. So my first guru and the teacher of yoga is very, very good teacher of yoga. I'm very, very good experience, and I learn a lot from Pratishtha ji. So after that, I'm very, very good experience in India. First, I learned yoga in Delhi. So after that, so I learned a lot about Hinduism. It is, for example, Ayurveda, but it is very, very many point overlap between yoga and Ayurveda. And I learned a lot about the Indian astrology also. So, but it is very, very difficult, tough calculation required. But from the learning of the astrology, I come to know the similarity and the basic concept of yoga and the Ayurveda and the astrology is a very, very common knowledge is there, I found. So after that, I think that how to live a life is a very, very important element I have learned from yoga. So that's why from Japanese people's point of view, so I'd like to explain a little bit about my experience. Then after that, first of all, let me explain about Japan and the Japanese countries and the Japanese people. It is easy to understand the audience from what viewpoint I will explain about yoga. So in 2007, so we are very, very lucky. Acharya Pratishtha ji, Bharat Bhushan ji, I invited to Japan. Pratishtha ji also spent the good day in Japan. And later, I'd like to ask you, Pratishtha ji, what is the impression from Japan? But before that, I'd like to explain about the history of India and Japan. So around 500 years ago, so Japanese countries, Japanese people imported, learned a lot from India through Buddhism. So that's why even now, many of the Japanese culture have the similarity with Indian philosophy. So that's why I think the Acharya ji come to know the many similarities between India and Japan. If possible, I would like to ask Pratishtha ji, what is the impression in Japan?
Beautiful, beautiful. I still remember that wonderful trip to Japan. And as you have mentioned it beautifully, that we shared the same root. So whether we talk about how to sit and eat, whether we talk about how to welcome someone, how to the gesture of welcoming, whether it be namaste, whether it be bowing down in namaste, whether it be sitting in vajrasana and eating, and whether it be the tradition of not speaking while eating. I still remember the most beautiful part of that journey was a long back ritual of ancient India that we should be quiet. We should practice mourn while eating. And that I witnessed in Japan. When somebody serves you, you need more, you join your hands. When you don't need more, this is the sign. And I still remember it. I strongly feel that we have India and Japan have same roots, and that is so clearly visible in Japanese people who are full of love, who are full of peace, who are calm, and that yoga tradition is still visible in them. And I would not, it won't be an exaggeration if I say that Kenichiro Toyofuku is a live example of that, and a live example of how yoga can change your life. And now I have a question from you And question is that since I have also served as a senior diplomat, and you have anyway served, you had a long service as a diplomat. So generally, people think that diplomacy is work which needs a lot of stress. You need to take a lot of stress, and that is true as well. More responsibility on your shoulders, more stressful conditions you need to face. Why I'm asking this question is because generally people ask me this question that as a diplomat, how did you handle your stress? So my answer is yoke. So I would ask same question to you. Do you think that in managing that stress of diplomacy, of responsibilities, can easily be removed through yoga? And how did you manage that stress being a yogi?
Yeah, thank you very much. A beautiful explanation about Japan. And thank you very much for the very, very important question. And how to manage mental and emotional stress in my, I think, the work and the job. So I joined the Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry in Government of Japan in 1993. And this ministry is well known for hardworking, long working like this. When I was young, I think the more than 10 years, I'm working for from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. every day. It is very, very difficult to find the time for sleep. So under this condition, so I can survive and I can manage the mental and the emotional stress. Then I think after that, yoga is very, very helpful to manage mental and the emotional stress. I don't know details, but anyway, I can feel the relief from the stress after finish the yoga. I think in 2004, when I started the yoga session from Pratishtha ji, this is started from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. for 1 hour. This timing is a very, very good timing for me because in daytime, I'm working the very, very intensively. So then around 6 p.m., I feel the tiredness, especially in the brain and the mind and the emotion. So after that, from 6 p.m., if I learn and I perform the yoga for complete 1 hour, this stress is almost, I think, the 80%, 90% of the stress will remove. I don't know which asana, which pranayama is good for this stress, but I think the complete package of this yoga and asana and pranayama will release the mental stress. So I don't know the background, I don't know the details of the reason, but I myself, I feel the relief from the stress. And one more point, so even after this, I think some week and some day, so I have to work very, very hard for some preparation. So in this case, we require some additional treatment to release the mental disease, mental tiredness. So in this case, I think I found one of the good solution. This one is Ayurveda related solution. For example, Shiro Dara is a very, very warm oil dropped in the forehead. This is very, very good relief for me to relieve the stress. And one more knowledge I get from the Ayurveda. Currently, most of the work is computer-related one, smartphone, tablet, such types of displays we have to use. So in this case, many of the tiredness come from eyes. So that's why how to take care the eyes is very, very important. Thoracic exercise I have learned from Pratishtha. And one more is Netra Basti is a Ayurveda related treatment. This one also sometimes very, very effective for me. So from such types of knowledge from yoga and Ayurveda, so I can survive from the very, very stressful job and very, very emotional pressure. So on the other hand, however, beyond the stress management, so now I come to know yoga is very, very beneficial to have the mind of creative mind, and the creative idea. This is very, very important for innovative, constructive job. So that's why this one also I would like to ask the Pratishtha how to affect the to enhance the creating idea from yoga. This is very, very important part of yoga, I think. But I don't know details about the background. I'd like to ask Pratishtha.
True, true. See, we have three parts of our brain, and all three parts are they work in a different way. Generally, the left part of the brain is related to general day-to-day information which common people have, and those who have that general information, they usually write with their right hand. And then is the right part of your brain, which is more towards creativity, towards productivity. And that creative part of the brain, due to the activeness of the right part of the brain, those people write with left hand. So you must have observed that most of the creative people or people from art fraternity, they generally write with their left hand because our body, even the breath control, what do we do during our breath control? Our body is divided into right and left. And then this is Chandranadi, the moon side, and Suryanadi, the sun side. And then we control our breath through pranayama. Now, when we want to enhance the creative aspect of our brain, we need to, very most important thing, we need to learn the right practice of pranayama. Because, see, with your emotional change, what is the first thing that changes? That is your breath. So when you cry, so your breathing changes. When you're happy, your breathing changes. And if somebody who is not a good speaker and he is asked to speak in front of 10,000 people suddenly, so what will happen? His breath will go high and his heartbeat will go high. So, first thing to control your emotions and to increase your creativity, you need to learn how to master your breath. So, breathing is very important. And Kenichiro ji, you would agree to me that everybody who is alive is breathing, right? Everybody is
Yeah.
breathing, but in 24 hours, we don't even remember that we are breathing. You know, when we get a gift, still in Japan, culture is very straightforward. Okay, but in many other countries, you get a gift, you write down what gift you have received because you want to give a return gift, much more expensive one than the one you have got. But this gift of breath, God has given you. But what to say of return gift? We don't even have gratitude for this breath. We don't even remember that we are breathing. So, first thing is the 24 hours we should know that we are breathing. And second thing is, oh Paramatma, oh God, I'm so grateful to you for this breath. Now, slowly with the practice of pranayam, we master our breath. Once we master our breath, we master our brain and our emotions, and the productive and creative side of your brain becomes more active. And second important thing is people are staying with gadgets, whole day, as we have just now mentioned. So we become like those with whom we stay. So we are staying with gadgets, we are becoming like gadgets. Gadgets have no productivity, no creativity, right? But Mother Nature is productive. Mother Nature is creative. So beautiful. So more time we spend with Mother Nature, more productive and creative we become. More time we spend with gadgets. You might think that I'm creating a music out of gadgets. No, you cannot create a music out of gadget. Music is created from Mother Nature. You might be compiling it through gadget. So most important part is that we should spend time with Mother Nature, and then only we can improve our productivity, creativity, and overall development of our brain.
Yeah, thank you very much. And now I come to know the importance of the breathing. So again, I try to practice the more breathing exercise to come to know the creative idea. And in 2007, so when I'm learning the yoga from Pratishtha ji, so then during the yoga session, sometimes I'm thinking over the job and how to solve the issue. Then Pratishtha ji pointed out, you please forget that job and some other one. Please concentrate on the yoga. But I don't know why some creative idea suddenly come to me in 2007. So I'd like to share one experience. Then I think because of the good yoga, so I think I come to know the very, very creative idea. So this one is how to promote the industries in India. So then I think the one image, one idea come to my mind from the experience of Japanese economic development. I come to know Delhi is like a Tokyo in Japan, and Osaka is like a Bombay, Mumbai in India. So around 40 years back, Japanese government developed the Pacific Economic Corridor concept to develop the economic infrastructure and the industrial promotion simultaneously. So then my creative idea is Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. So then I write down the one note of the concept of Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor. So at that time, government of India so much appreciated this idea. And they developed the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor Development Corporation. Then even now, this is promoting the industrial activities in India from Delhi to Mumbai. So such types of actual benefit also come from yoga. And this Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor is one of the good examples how to make the creative idea from yoga. Of course, during yoga, I have to concentrate on yoga. But I don't know why this idea come to me.
But I think because generally creative ideas come in your mind when you are in the relaxed state. When you are tensed, when you are under stress, you cannot think of any creative idea. So the reason is when you're practicing yoga, you are absolutely relaxed. And that is the time that this creative idea came to you. And because of that, it has helped so many people.
Yes, I totally agree. And one more point. So I'd like to share for mainly the Indian people. So Japan is a very unique country and a good country. However, currently more than 99% the non-vegetarian. Most of the people have to have the fish. And after World War II, this is the influence from the US. Many of the Japanese people start to eat meat. So that's why myself also 35 years. So I used to be the non-vegetarian, like same as other Japanese people. Then Pratishtha suggested to me, you should try to be the vegetarian to enhance the capacity of yoga. At that time, I cannot believe, because last 35 years, my food habit was non-vegetarian. So I don't know what change will come from vegetarian. However, according to the suggestion from Pratishtha, I decided to become the vegetarian for 1 month as a trial. After that, I'd like to observe by myself, and I would like to see the difference from non-vegetarian food and the vegetarian food. Then after 1 month, I come to know, I clearly recognize the difference from the non-vegetarian and the vegetarian difference, especially in the morning time. Before or become the vegetarian, in the morning time, I feel little bit heaviness in my, I think, the mind and the brain. However, after become the vegetarian, morning time and the daytime, night time, this heaviness never come. So after that, I come to know, if I change to vegetarian, complete my life could be changed. So after that, last 17 years, I become the vegetarian. This is the great help for me to improve myself. So I think that I'm Japanese. I used to be non-vegetarian. So that's why I can share, I can explain more clearly about the difference of non-vegetarian and the vegetarian. Of course, this is totally depend on the individuals. It is good for some people. It is not good for some people. But anyway, I'd like to suggest for many of the people, if possible, please try the vegetarian for 1 month. Then after that, observe myself. This exercise is very, very logically important to understand the good food habit for ourselves.
So, and I think it is a big achievement, Kenichiro-ji, because generally it is very, very tough. But someone like you who has a very strong willpower could do it. And that change is so clearly visible in your personality, in your life.
Yes, thank you very much. This food is very, very important because before starting the yoga session from Pratishtha, I understood yoga is like exercise for the flexibility of body. So after that, after started the yoga session from Pratishtha, I think the first big difference is this food habit. So I changed to vegetarian. So after that, my life and my body and my health condition, my mental condition is totally developed. So that's why many of the people in all over the world, if I'd like to suggest for them, if possible, 30 days, 1 month, please try vegetarian. After that, please observe which is better for them. So this one, I strongly suggest for many people. So, and time is very, very limited. So finally, I'd like to explain one point. So now I'm working for private companies. So many persons is working in one companies and one organization. But I think thanks to the development of IT technologies and the AI technologies, in next 5 years, I think the role of the people, role of the human beings could be changed little by little. What is the role of the human beings for the society could be changed in next 5 years. So that's why human beings also have to change the role and the capability in next 5 years. So before that, most of the job, most of the desk work is collecting the information, and that this is summarized and explained for others in very, very easy to understand way. This is the many of the person is working for such types of purpose. But in next 5 years, these types of job will decrease. So instead of this, I already mentioned, I already explained the creativity, creative idea, creative mind, and this creativity and innovative idea, innovative thought could be more important as a role of human beings in future. So that's why if yoga could contribute to enhance the capability of the human beings for next 5 years, I think that this role is very, very important for yoga in next 5 years. This point also, I'd like to hear from Pratishtha ji about this thought and the observation.
True, that's true. And as we just now discussed that being creative, I still remember, when I was a child. So Gurudev, my father, Swami Bharat Bhushanji, he shares a story. And story is that he says that my daughter was very small that time. So she was just running. I was working and she was running. And there was one big ant walking on the floor, and her foot came on the ant, and the ant died. So my daughter was only 2.5 year old that time, and when she saw the dead ant, she was shocked, and she was thinking about something. Then I left my work and I asked her, "What happened?" And the little child said, "Ant is dead." So this increased his curiosity, and he thought how a 2.5 year old child knows what is dead and what is alive.
Yeah.
So he said, "Okay, do you know what is dead and how do you think this ant is dead?" And then he says, "The answer I received from my daughter as a little child has changed my vision of life." She thought for some time and then she said, "When somebody doesn't do anything, he dies." So that's the crux. As humans, we have an intense feeling of progress, of creativity, of creating something new. Once we stop the creation, we stop the progress, life becomes stagnant, and then maybe we are living with body, but we are absolutely dead from inside. So this is your vision to see this change in next 5 years, definitely, because time is changing very frequently. We never thought that we are going to witness such a crucial time of pandemic, but we all had witnessed that. We saw how we were confined to houses, and at that time, yoga was a big help for everyone. So I'm sure even in the coming times, yoga is a science that has the solution to all its problems, and we will progress with time with yoga together.
Okay. Thank you very much. That very, very important suggestion. I think that I would like to, how to say, promote, I would like to improve myself from the teaching from Pratishtha-ji. And I'd like to learn a lot from yoga. Then I'd like to contribute the society from my job and from my communication, interaction with many people. But anyway, I'd like to appreciate the great wisdom and the knowledge of yoga. And this knowledge and the wisdom are taught by the Pratishtha-ji. So I appreciate so much. But anyway, by myself also, I'd like to improve myself. And many participants and the audience of this session also try to improve themselves based on the knowledge and the wisdom of yoga. So this is the conclusion of my session. Thank you very much for the participation.
Thank you so much, Kenichiro Toyofuku-ji, for joining us, for taking out time from your busy schedule. I'm sure all the audiences, global audiences watching this session would be greatly and immensely benefited by this. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.